Evening from India. I'm Padmaja Iyengar Paddy, your anchor for this evening's 5th International Poetry Meet, hosted by and facilitated by my dear friend and prolific poet and writer Neelam Saxena. Owing to an unforeseen emergency, this meet, originally scheduled for 12th March, could not take place, and now we have rescheduled it for today. I'd like to commence this evening's International Poetry Meet with these 4 lines written by me. It's on this earth that we face tests that challenge life's journey and quests. As we fare and emerge through them, each experience becomes a true gem. So dear friends, let's all cheer and welcome the Karta Dharta and the organizer and facilitator of this meet, Neelam Saxena Chandra. Please let Neelam in, and then I'll read her bio.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Neelam.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'll read your short bio now. Neelam Saxena Chandra, Pune, Maharashtra, India, a bilingual author in English and Hindi, has, to her credit, 5 novels, 1 novella, and 6 story collections, 32 poetry collections, and 14 children's books. Wow. And more than 1,500 of her poems and stories have been published in various journals, anthologies, and magazines. She is featured in the Limca Book of Records 2015 as the author with highest number of publications in a year in English and Hindi. Neelam is a recipient of several international and national awards. She was listed in Forbes as one of the most popular 78 authors in 2014. And there's something more I'd like to share about Neelam. She's a very senior bureaucrat serving the Indian Railways. Welcome, Neelam, to the StreamYard.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Such a pleasure to be here, and thank you for facilitating all this. I have great pleasure in welcoming our next poet guest, Megha Sood, all the way from USA. Hi, Megha.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And here are a few lines in her introduction. Megha Sood from USA is a Pushcart nominated poet, editor, and blogger from Jersey City, New Jersey. She's an associate poetry editor at journals Mukishik, Life and Legends, and also a literary partner in the project Life in Quarantine with Stanford University, USA. She has over 600 plus works featured in literary journals and magazines. She is also a national level winner of Spring Mahogany Literary Prize 2020 and a 3-time state level winner of NJ Poetry Contest. Her chapbook, My Body is Not an Apology, is coming out by award-winning Finishing Line Press, and her full-length My Body Lives Like a Thread is soon to be published by Texas-based Flower Song Press. She tweets at Megha Sood 16. Welcome, Megha.
Thanks so much, Padmajaji, for such a warm and nice introduction.
Just make it Paddy, no Padmajaji, please. I'm immensely pleased to invite our next friend. Is Sigma here? No, she's not. Okay. Then we'll next invite Dr. Purnima Kulkarni from Pune, Maharashtra.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So here are a few lines in introduction about Dr. Purnima Kulkarni from Pune, Maharashtra, a literature, English language trainer, motivational speaker, research-oriented writer, author, biographer, and as she describes herself, a profound poetess. She has been a research scholar in residence at EFLU, that is the English and Foreign Languages University, and Osmania University Center for International Programs, OUCIP, Hyderabad, my city. She has published her research papers in national and international journals and has authored a chapter to a book on the theatre of Mahesh Dattani, besides being a co-author of an international journal, Literary Horizon. Dr. Purnima Kulkarni recently launched her anthology of 51 poems, Assorted Plumerias. Besides, she has collaborated with 7 celebrated poets across the globe for an international anthology, Permutations and Combinations of Love. Warm welcome, Purnima, again to you to this 5th International Poetry Meet.
Thank you so much, Padima, for that warm and lovely introduction. Always
My
happy
pleasure.
to have you as our moderator. And the show is powered by Neelam ji, so it's always a pleasure to be on her page.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Totally
It's
agree
an
with
honor.
you. Yeah. Is Sigma in? Not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, Jyotir. So last but not the least, let me welcome and introduce our Nivedita. You know, she's the hostess this evening. She has let us all in.
Yes.
Thank you, Nivedita. And thank you for the tech support that you're giving for today's event. And you're a poetess yourself, all the way from Manama, Bahrain. Nivedita Roy is a teacher and upcoming poet and author. She calls herself upcoming, we don't know. She pursues writing as a passion and loves to express herself through her writings and recitals.
Right.
She's a bilingual author and poetess. She has co-authored four anthologies. In December 2020, she launched her maiden poetry collection of 35 poems titled Gallery the Heart. Nivedita's inspiration is her late father, whom she continues to hold in high esteem. She is a recipient of several prizes in many online poetry contests, both in Hindi and English. Hello, Nivedita.
Thank you so much, Padima. So many things about myself I wrote and I forgot. Thank you so much. And let me now have the pleasure to introduce and announce our moderator for the evening, Padmaja Iyengar, as we respectfully and lovingly call her Padima. Padmaja Iyengar, Padima, is the Cultural and Literary Coordinator for India, ISI SAR Kolkata, and the Editorial Counselor for India, International Writers Journal, USA. Her maiden poetry collection, Pen Chance, has been recognized as a unique record of excellence by the India Book of Records. A recipient of several awards, Padima has compiled and edited 6 international multilingual poetry anthologies, of which Amravati Poetic Prism from the years 2016 to 2019 has been recognized by the Limca Book of Records as poetry anthology in most languages. She writes for pleasure and loves humor, and her favorite and all-time favorite is P.G. Wodehouse. Padima, welcome to Neelam.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Nivedita. Thank you so much for all your kind words for me. Is Sigma in?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So shall we commence the first round of readings at this 5th International Poetry Meet? Shall we?
Yes.
Yes, the month of March has seen a few important days also. On 8th March, we celebrated the Women's Day, International Women's Day. And then on 21st March, we celebrated the International Poetry Day. And so at this 5th International Poetry Meet, we have an all-women group, you know, to commemorate the Women's Day. It's not accident, it's not designed, but it has happened.
It has happened, yeah.
So that's wonderful to have an all-women group here, you know, in the month of March. It's wonderful. Each of these women, they are achievers. They are, great domain experts in their own fields. And so it is quite an honor for me to, introduce each one of you and welcome each one of you to this 5th International Poetry Meet, facilitated by our dear friend, Neelam Saxena. So without further ado, let's commence the first round of reading. And I invite you, Neelam, from Pune, Maharashtra, to please read your poem.
Thank you, Padima. So the first poem which I am going to read today is titled Empty Nest. The nest shall soon be empty. The straws and the twigs with which the nest was built, the outer soft periphery which was covered with gilt, will soon be plated with void. Loneliness shall strike like a meteorite. The nest shall soon be empty. Abundance shall feel the branches, the trees shall be deserted. The lanes on which we walk together shall now seem secluded. Ruthless eyes shall cover the trail. all efforts to strip it off fail. The nest shall soon be empty. The departure is miserable, and yet I smile, spreading the splendid sunshine. For I know that for a fledgling to grow and for it to touch the skyline, a mother has to outgrow her adoration and let the child touch the horizon. And let the child touch the horizon. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. A mother has to outgrow her adoration and let the child touch the horizon. This line, I think each of us, a mother here, will very much relate to, because this is how we console ourselves when our child leaves us and departs for greener pastures. Did you have any trigger that inspired this poem, Neelam? Can you please share your experience writing this poem?
Yeah, I wrote it when my daughter had just completed her 12th standard and was leaving for her further studies. That time we were in Lucknow and she was coming to Pune, and that is when I had written this poem.
Yes, I think we can all relate to this, because after 12th, our children are not our own actually. They just go away, for various courses, and from there they take up jobs and then move out to other countries sometimes. So only up to 12th, our children are our own actually. Thank you, Neelam. Could very much relate to that. I now invite Megha Sood, all the way from USA, to please read a poem. Over to you, Megha.
Thanks, Padima, so much for the invitation. And the first poem I'm going to be reading today is called Does Hurt Have a Gender? And it's from my forthcoming full-length poetry collection called My Body Lives Like a Thread. So the poem is titled, Does Hurt Have a Gender? What does a body want when it breaks down into a million pieces? Its pulverized existence wanting acceptance, only to be ignored and walked over, left over like a day's old milk on the kitchen counter, forgotten and left to cuddle. Why do we keep numbing the sharp pain, the knotted lamentation caught in our hungry mouths, which cuts our soul both ways and leaves us to bleed in this world, perfused with sweat and blood, a moment indescribable. Leaking and soaking the ridges of the curbside, here the thickness of your blood, its viscosity, and the gravitas of your speech depends on the color of your skin, a pain untenable. An insurmountable pain rising in my mouth, a dichotomy between pain and acceptance, a desire abominable. Does scream have a religion too? Do cries have a race? Does hurt have a gender? Do wounds have a nationality? Does your tongue curl into sin when you call out my name? Does the triteness of the ideologies still mollify your pain? Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful. Very powerful poem.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Does hurt have a gender? Beautiful.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Does scream have a religion too?
Yes, yes.
Do cries have a race? Does hurt have a gender? Do wounds have a nationality? Very wonderful, very powerful lines are these, Megha, that say that it all for us women actually. I think we all women as women feel this often.
Yes.
Your poem is a great commentary on the society we are living in, which has only seen some cosmetic changes, I think, where women are concerned. Megha, will you please briefly share the trigger for this poem?
So I think the underlying emotion of the poem which led me to write this one, it's basically when the people are judged on their gender, on their color and the skin. And one race is like, or your sexual orientation, and they're like, okay, the person from this will not feel this because they belong to a certain gender or nationality and so and so. So I think the pain and the hurt and the grief, it's a universal emotion. And it has nothing to do what like nationality or what gender or what like sexual orientation you have. So that's where the poem comes from. So does hurt have a gender? So that's, we should ask before, comparing anybody else to us and say, oh, you don't feel it because you are such and such nationality or such and such gender. So that's where it comes from.
Very well said and very well expressed. Yeah, thank you. Very good explanation given also. So you have really reinforced your points very well in your explanation. Thank you. Sigma has not yet joined, isn't it? So
No,
I now invite you, Nivedita, to please read your poem.
Okay.
Over to you, Nivedita, to please read your poem.
Yes, ma. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So the title of my poem is Who Am I? I wonder often, I ponder often, I introspect often, I question often. A companion, a chaperone, a friend, or a life partner with many hats to wear. Who am I? To be nurtured or nurture, to be provided or a provider, with so much to give. Who am I? To be loved or be an object of lust, to be worshipped or crushed, with so many expectations to fulfill. Who am I? I am the most precious creation of nature, who often struggles to find her stature. I am a proud woman. Thank you, ma.
Excellent, excellent. Very well.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Again, a very powerful poem, and that talks about the feminine or feminism so well, and raises a lot of pertinent questions, about the feminine identity. And the concluding lines say it all. I am the most precious creature of creation of nature, who often struggles to find her stature. I think this is the quest, women are involved in, to find their identity, to, establish their stature and so on. Thank you so much, Nivedita. That's a wonderful poem. But I'd like to know before that, what triggered this poem?
Ma, so many things. The news, the feelings of a mother and a wife. This is little personal. Of the people that I saw around me, the mothers that I meet often as a teacher. So, the plight of every woman, I just brought it into a comprehensive poem.
Absolutely. Very well
we are
brought
answerable.
In.
Why are we answerable to so many questions? That's my...
Yes, you're very right. Women are often held accountable for things even for which they are not responsible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ma, I will also like to take just 2 minutes of your time to say that there are so many wonderful messages from the time Neelam ji recited her poem, then Megha, and we have a group called Literary Voice Group. Most of our members have joined in to say, so please, all the poets right now on the stage of Miss Neelam Saxena's page, have a great smile on your faces, because there are so many wonderful, beautiful comments. I'm trying to highlight them. And pardon me if I miss anybody's. Yes, ma. All over to you.
Thank you. And thank you all, friends, for joining. It's such a wonderful thing to have you all here. Geeta Pandit and Maitreyi. I saw a few names too. Thank you so much. Gayatri Joshi is here. So thank you so much for joining us. Maitreyi Joshi is also here. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, friends, for encouraging us, for supporting us. I now request Purnima Kulkarni to please read her poem. Over to you, Purnima.
Thank you so much, Padima. So the name of my poem is Story of a Prostitute. Prostitutes are marginalized, traumatized, and victimized, and that coaxed me to write this poem. So here I go. Often addressed as Mrs. Coaxer or Midnight Fairy, Miss Camilla Rosso confidently walked to the brothel. She wasn't dragged into the profession by force. She could shake a leg and sing like a throstle. Some called her a streetwalker or a crazy hooker. On the busy streets of Amsterdam, obsessed predators with X-ray vision examined her beauty, who looked like a lady from Birmingham. A millionaire dragged her to his palatial mansion and sheltered her like his concubine. Every night he picked up a fancy woman, a nutty North American porcupine. One day, in a drunken fit, he called her a bitch, a hustler, bored, and a crazy slut. She mauled him mercilessly and left him to die in a squalid, dingy, and filthy hut. Once a porn director approached Camilla and decided to cast her in a meaty role. She quoted him an atrocious amount, thinking he was a donkey's fool. One fine day, a fine-looking hunk approached her, asking her to tie the knot with him. He thought she'd reply in the affirmative. However, her answer helplessly left her grim. So that was my poem, Story of a Prostitute.
Yes.
I just hope you liked it.
Very much, very much, very much. It's a very powerful poem again. I think when we write about women as women, somewhere, the sensitivity comes along very, very, very well, because we
Absolutely.
feel that,
yes.
Yeah, we feel the, the agony, the angst, everything, we feel so well. And
Absolutely.
I'd like to ask you, Purnima, this is such a wonderful story poem, as I would like to call it.
Yes.
How did you think of this particular story? What made you think of this particular story? It's such an interesting one.
Well, my PhD thesis is on LGBT studies, and I did some prostitution analysis. And, when I studied the midnight ferries from Amsterdam, Pattaya, Bangkok, I realized that some of them had such, horrendous tales to tell. But at the same time, some prostitutes worked very happily, very cheerfully. So that coaxed me to write this poem, and they don't allow men to take undue advantage of them. They're very strong, and they are audacious, they're intrepid, and at the same time, they are so powerful. So there's the second wave of feminist theory. The second wave feminism actually compelled me, coaxed me, and persuaded me to write this poem, Story of a Prostitute.
Very interesting and engaging. Thank you very much for sharing your insights about your poem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Padima. Thanks a lot. As you said, this is a women-centric session, so I thought, this poem would be relevant as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Has Sigma joined? Not yet. Not yet joined, isn't
Not
it?
yet,
Not yet. Okay, okay. So, I think it's my turn now. I should invite myself to read my...
Yes, Ma, you're welcome.
No, I would like to warmly invite you to render your poem, Padima, and we are eagerly awaiting.
Thank you, thank you. So since we are in the women-centric poems, my poem is titled Gender Divides. I'm tired of being told, don't worry, be bold. But do be cautious, keep your anger in hold. Always react covertly, even if solicited overtly. Boys will be boys and men will be men. As if accosting women is a male entitlement and putting up with it is a female requirement. As if abusive behavior is a male entitlement and bearing it with a stiff upper lip is a female requirement. Does the word entitlement represent the male gender and the word appeasement the female gender? Is the word supremacy male gender and the word obedience female gender? How long will continue these gender divides, and when will women truly represent change? Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I would like to ask you a question.
Please.
Do you see a change coming?
Yes and no. Yes and no. See, we have all, women are more educationally qualified, well qualified. They are, going out and earning a livelihood earning, holding big positions like you're doing, Neelam, like I held in my heydays. And each of you here, I think, is a very accomplished woman in several respects and in many fields. But somewhere, I think we are all again pulled back. When a crunch situation arises, it is very difficult to take that bold decision which is expected of you as a woman. I have been through this process in my own life. I've been a single mother all my life. But it took a lot of guts in my old time to take such a decision. But I don't think it's an easy decision to take, Neelam. This is my opinion. I don't think the kind of change that has to come from within. There are a lot of external changes, but internally women, still hesitate to take bold decisions. This is my observation. I'm sorry if you don't agree.
No, very well. Very well said. Very well said. And hats off to you. Hats off to you for taking such a strong decision in those times.
Yeah, so sometimes when you're thrown into the sea, there are only two choices. Sometimes when you're thrown into the sea, there are only two choices. Either you swim or you sink. Those who don't know swimming, they just flap their hands and somehow stay afloat. Probably that's what I did. So that's how it is.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Is Sigma there? No, not yet. I mean, it's my duty to keep asking if she's there. So
No. I messaged her. I'll let you know, Ma.
Sure. So with this, I think we come to the conclusion of the first round of poetry reading, and we move to the second one. So shall we slightly change the order of reading so that, it kind of cuts the monotony?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, shall we do that? Okay. Nivedita, you have read your poem?
The first one I have, Ma.
Yes. That's what I wanted to be sure. Yeah.
So
sometimes, we forget the host, so I shouldn't make that mistake. Yeah.
You are the host.
We are all hosting each other here. So, Neelam, may I request you to please read your poem?
Okay, thank you. So this poem talks about domestic violence. It's titled Mama, Don't Weep. Mama, don't weep. Yes, I'd always been subconsciously aware of father hitting you every now and then. It was an unequal fight between his strength and your despair. Mama, don't weep. When I saw him pull your hair today, drag you, beat you, burn your skin by cigarette butt, my heart cried. I yelled in dismay. Mama, don't weep. Time never follows the same path. Today he mocks at your helpless tears. Thinking me to be a kid satirizes my wrath. Mama, don't weep. Tomorrow a new hopeful sun shall from the horizon arise. You will gather your lost mate, dear Mama, and together we shall fly over the skies. Mama, don't weep. You've just forgotten your own forte and assets. You are a woman, but you are not weak. Think, Mama, think. Don't succumb to fret. Mama, don't weep. When you feel like giving up, just remember, you too have a lovely daughter. You would surely like a beautiful future for her. Mama, don't weep. Let's leave this life of domestic violence forever. You have a Durga in you. Invoke her now. Mama, summon your courage. Grow stronger. So that was my poem, Mama, Don't Weep.
Very powerful poem.
Very touching.
Very touching, and we all need to invoke the Durga within us off and on, if not regularly. So, very nice poem, Neelam. Now I request Purnima to please read her poem.
All right, Padima. So, my second poem is called Mother Earth. She looks faded, evanesced, and jaded, the unravished bride called Earth. Everything that God created is now witnessing scarcity and dearth. Every creature on the earth deserves to live, birds, beasts, and humans too. We need to prevent extinction. Power and greed should bid adieu. Throwing species out of their habitat is like disrespecting Mother Nature. She's bound to say tit for tat if you bring down her stature. The damage isn't reversible. Karma will ultimately play its role. Our resources aren't inexhaustible. One day it will take a heavy toll. Concrete jungles springing up everywhere, creating such an abominable mess. Motor vehicles plenty, cycles few, oxygen is less and less. Earth has to be shielded responsibly for the unborn eyes to see. Sow the seeds and scatter them today. You'll end up planting trees. So this was an environment conscious poem.
Beautiful, and quite a clarion call you have given there for protection of our nature and our environment. That's a beautiful poem, Purnima. I now invite...
Paddy ma'am, I see only concrete jungles around me. If you ask Neelam ji, she will tell you Pune has become a concrete jungle. It's not a pleasure to take nature walks anymore when you see buildings around you. So this is like raping Mother Earth. And why can't we expect coronas and so many things happening to us because we are raping Mother Earth.
True. All our urban spaces have become concrete jungles now.
Yes,
that's the reality. That's the reality. May I now request you, Nivedita, to please read your poem in the in the shuffled order. I'm now inviting Nivedita.
Yes, ma. So my second poem is about the rainfall as felt by a hearing impaired person. So it's my imagination. The thunderous, though soundless, applause by the firmament, flashes of lightning brighten the otherwise dark sky. Wondering on the wandering sparks, is the Supreme Being showing me the reality stark? I see, I amaze, I preview. My perspective bound by the chains of visual, not audible. The heart beats racing, though illegible. Sensations alive, on eyes I thrive. The petrichor that rises with raindrops falling. I twirl in my space. I swirl the droplets in my palm. Another flash of lightning appears. I pause, placid in my solitude. A flash prickles of fondness missing. I yearn to feel another heartbeat near me. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. What an
Very
imagery
nice.
you have painted in your poem. Beautiful imagery you have painted in your poem. Thank you very much, Nivedita, for that very beautiful poem. Thank you so much. It's now over to Megha to please read her poem. Second round,
Yeah.
The second poem.
Thanks, Padima. The second poem I'm reading is called My Body Lives Like a Thread, which is the same name my collection is. And this poem is basically about the body autonomy and how the body, the female body generally, is both like treated as a personal as well as a political threat at the level. So here it goes. It's called My Body Lives Like a Thread. A wound opens its mouth and becomes self-inflicting, just like the night in its extreme. Vulnerable to a ray of light, its existence challenged, and yet it stands bravely, unfettered to the challenges of the dawn. As I catch the words in my mouth, my language becomes an open threat. My razor speech falling sharp on your dull convictions. We always expose our deepest and softest parts to heal. That's how the body learns to heal, to grow. To be vulnerable is an elegy for acceptance. We have hunger written all over us, with the ink as black as the mole on your shoulder, challenging the frothiness of the moonlight. My unspoken words sit like a welt on my tongue in this foreign world. Every time I twist my tongue to shape a word, I mispronounce your fear. A new threat is born. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent, excellent.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Absolutely. Mispronounced the word through the description of the tongue and the way the tongue speaks.
Really
wonderful, wonderful, very beautiful one. Sigma, are you there? As they say, better late than never. Yes, better late than never. So I'll just read a short bio of Sigma and welcome her. Welcome, Sigma. Dr. Sigma Satish from God's own country, Kerala, India, a widely published Indian poet in various national and international arenas, is currently the head of the Department English at VTM NSS College, Trivandrum, that is Kerala. She earlier worked for the Oman Ministry of Manpower Colleges as an English faculty. Dr. Sigma has authored 4 poetry collections, edited 1, co-authored 1, and co-edited 2. Her latest book, World at Large Haiku Poems, has been published by Kerala State Bala Sahitya Institute. She received the Mirabai Literary Award from the Organization of United Working Journalists Forum, supported by Public Relations Department, Puri, the government of Odisha, on National Press Day 2016. She is a recipient of the Cochin Literary Fest Prize 2019. Sigma is regularly invited as a poet delegate to several prestigious national and international poetry festivals. Over to you, Sigma. Please read your first poem. We are all into our second, so you please first read your first poem. Unmute.
Thank you so much, Paddy, for the lovely introduction. Thank you, Neelamji, for facilitating this event. Thank you, Nivedita, and the well-known poets, Purnima and Megha. Yeah, here is my first poem. I'm sorry I'm late. My mom got admitted in the hospital again, so sorry for that. Yeah, so here is the first poem. It is her choice. With drowsy mind, she threw her mask on coat cupboard storage. Sandals upside down, her robe stuffed in chair, she began to feel the nameless pain. He crept into her lonely couch. With a faint smile, she found her room empty, and she grew like a long shadow in the countless volumes of poetry. Finally, she had woken up in hope and scribbled verses. Now she announced it is her choice. Yes.
Beautiful. And what a choice. What a choice. A very powerful poem again. An excellent poem, Sigma. And I'd like to know what triggered this particular poem in you.
Thank you so much, Patty.
How did you write this poem?
I always think about the self-strength, about women empowerment, about the social, educational, economic, political, and psychological equality among men and women. So somehow it happened, and as you know, we don't sit and write; it happens because these things I have. Yeah. So it is just happened, and that is my choice.
Excellent choice, and thank you for sharing your choice with us. It is a wonderful poem. Thank you, Sigma, and thank you for joining us finally. Have I invited Megha? Have you read your second poem? Megha has read. So who's
everybody has read except you. Except you and Sigma, everybody has read. So can I invite you to read your second poem first, Paddy?
Yeah. Then Sigma can again read her second poem. Yeah, sure. Yeah. My second poem is yesterday on 20th March we celebrated the World Sparrow Day. So the house sparrow is such a diminishing, dwindling race. So this particular poem of mine is dedicated to the house sparrows. So it's titled "We the House Sparrows." We look tiny and appear commonplace, undemanding and simple in our ways. Our needs are minimal, lesser than less. We chirp, we fly, we never try to impress. In urban jungles and fast-moving cities, we don't find any space to sit with ease. Villages shoo us off as agricultural pests. No place anywhere to even build our nests. All we need are just a few grains to feed our tiny tummies that harbor no greed. We trouble no one, we disturb no one, yet supporters for us are next to none. Commonly known as the house sparrow, we have nothing much to flaunt or show. With a lifespan of just 2 or 3 years or so, we are fast dwindling. You have let us go. 20th March is the World Sparrow Day. To remember us, what a nice way. Else you lead your life in your ivory towers and we fly in search of a nest that we can call ours. Thank you.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Lovely.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Gratitude to you for remembering the sparrow.
Mm.
Yeah.
That tiny little thing, we have to.
Yes.
It's actually, when we were kids, we used to have lots of sparrows, sitting on our, compound wall, and we had more space. Houses also had more space, and I remember my father used to every day put a few grains outside the window, his bedroom window, and some sparrows will come and sit there. But now we don't find sparrows much. They're completely dwindled.
Unfortunately, due to radiation. Yes.
So I thought I'll dedicate this poem to the sparrow. Now may I invite Sigma to please read her poem, second round. Sigma.
Please unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Yeah. Title of my second poem is My Weapon. When memories unfold, spirit of humanity awoke in serene nature. We stared at our shadows in chains of grief, words set aside. Someone asked how big roads became narrow and meadows smelt dewy grass. My thoughts hit sky. I had only ink to register hues of humanity. Words fell from you to eternity, which mushroomed my sensual senses. I threw myself into murky mysteries of world. Since then, I had been wondering how to survive. I waited to live in peace. Now I grew barren like Mother Earth. I lost abruptly, like a shell in the sand, searching for an ink bottle, my only weapon.
And what a weapon.
Thank you so much.
A weapon.
Because we all speak for women empowerment, and it is often associated by women's rights movements. But what I feel is our weapon is pen, it's ink bottle. It's a nice way to express things. So that is how this poem got birth.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you so much.
Very nice.
Yes, yes. Pen is often powerful, more powerful than the sword, they say.
Exactly,
And I think it's the best tool to express herself. Very well said, Sigma. Thank you so much. I think with this, both the rounds of our poetry session is done.
Yes.
Right, Neelam? So, do we call it a day?
We call it a day.
Yes.
We do. Or would Neelam like to give some concluding remarks about this particular session?
Yeah, sure. I would love to read a 4-liner. Innocent like the first dreams, on the pages a few words dropped. Innocent like the first dreams, on the pages a few words dropped. The world whispered, poetry, poetry, poetry. I felt that hope has hopped. So, poetry is something that symbolizes hope for me. And even if I'm writing something about some difficult parts of life, it still symbolizes hope, because we as poets are bringing out those facts so that the world changes. So poetry ultimately is a symbol of hope. And I hope that with the various poetry meets that we are conducting here, we are able to carry this hope in the hearts of all the poets as well as the readers. And my thanks to Padima for moderating this session. Nivedita for the technical moderation, and Megha, Purnima, and Sigma for joining us and rendering such beautiful poems. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neelam, for having us. And what a great service you're doing to poetry, Neelam, by, having created this platform. Usually we all work for ourselves. You're one person who's always promoting others, promoting new poets, poetry. That's a wonderful service you're doing to the cause of literature and poetry. Kudos to you. Hats off to you. Hats off to you.
Very true.
I'm sure all of us will agree here. Thank you so much, Neelam. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Good night to everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good day, Megha.
Thank you
Good
to all the viewers. Please go and check everybody's comments and give a thank you, please, all poets.
I'll do that.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Nivedita, is it good evening to you or is it also night there?
It's 7:15 for me.
Okay. So still good evening. Have a nice evening. And Megha, you have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks everyone. It was such a warm and it feels like, when we are not only presenting our craft, it's like we're learning from each other, and it's so beautiful to hear about others' perspective. So that's why these the tete-a-tete, as they say, I really like it. I mean, even though you're exchanging your views, but you're in a way subconsciously also learning.
True, very true, very true.
Very well said. Very
well said. Very well said.
Thanks everyone. Have a nice day, everyone.